Hi, welcome. My name's Cass. I'm doing something a little bit different today. I created a hybrid toad / pumpkin. I have called him Poadkin. We're using acrylic markers on top of alcohol markers, and then I do a bit of outlining with pencil at the end. It was very experimental. I just had sketched out this guy in my sketchbook and I thought he was so cute, and so here we are colouring him in and trying to give him some life. Unfortunately, because I am still trying to find the illustration style that I like, you're going to see so many different types of artworks on my page. I go from realistic to illustrative to just quirky, I guess. I played around a few times with the shape of the pumpkin on him because at one stage it did look like he was quite well endowed, and I went, I think I need to move the locations of these lumps and bumps. But with the colour it doesn't seem to be as noticeable. Thankfully it's looking like a pumpkin, which is what it's supposed to be on his body. I knew I wanted a combination of greens and oranges in there, and the dotty features that pumpkins have, but still have like some warts of the toad. And you'll see like what I've got right now is just kind of speckly, and when I go in with the acrylic markers later, I kind of fill in some bits and it does look more like a cartoon styled pumpkin, not so organic. Okay, now we move on with the acrylic markers. I can go over with lighter colours on top of the alcohol markers, because sometimes the alcohol markers you go in too dark too early, and then you can't lighten them back up. But thankfully with the acrylic marker I was able to do so and create highlights and just some different shapes that you can't really see while it's so dark on the pumpkin. I had stuffed up on this arm with the acrylic markers. I wasn't meant to have the green go so far down into the arm, so I lost its blend. You'll see me attempt to lighten it back up and create more of a orange arm on this side, and then I do a little bit on the other side, but this side was definitely the issue. I go in quite a few times and eventually I get a bit more of a blend. I'm still probably not 100% happy what it ended up with, but it did come together better than what it was with just the alcohol marker. I really liked the highlight under the mouth that I did just a moment ago. It kind of creates this wise old look with his mouth shape, and I really loved that. here I am again trying to go into this arm to make it look like it's blended and not just two legs coming out of a pumpkin with no growth, I guess. Yeah, as I said, they didn't turn out quite how I wanted them to. The sketch, I thought, made them look really well tied together, and then I just stuffed it up when I brought that alcohol marker too far into it with such a dark colour right at the beginning. I didn't have too much of a plan with adding these shapes into the pumpkin. All I knew was I wanted to break up the green a little bit, especially where I just kind of made these dotty speckle bits because they didn't quite do what I wanted them to. So I think these shapes did work quite well. There's one bit that I do more towards the back where I didn't quite change the shape of them and they're still kind of rectangle, and I really should have rounded them around, and I didn't notice until I was done everything and I went, I should go back and fix it, but it's done and I'm not going to, play on that. I'll just remember for next time that, when we're rounding, I should probably round the shape. That's going to be a highlight as well. He is pretty much done with the colours now. I add in a little bit of highlighting these end bits before I go through and do the outline. I was pretty happy at this point. Again, I hadn't noticed the rectangles on the pumpkin not quite working. I was happy with how the overall colours of the pumpkin was working. I was still angry about those arms, but what are you going to do? And because I'm still new to acrylic markers, I wasn't too sure which pencils were going to layer properly on it. These ones did work to an extent. There were some bits where going in, they didn't quite colour over the top. But you live and you learn. Don't mind me recording for my TikTok. Just trying to catch a couple of interesting bits to show off. And now the daunting bit of taking off the tape. The amount of times I ruin pictures because my tape rips. This was the first time trying this new tape, which is just a really cheap painter's tape. And it actually was probably the best tape that I've used so far. And I mean, I've used proper artist masking tapes and all different sorts, and yeah, this was so cheap. I think it cost me like $1.50 and was designed just for a house painting, I guess, but no rips, nice and clean, very happy. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really hope that you like Poadkin. I really like him, and I hope to see you next time.